Hold the camera. Let's talk about that.
How's it going up there on the
Are you guys good? Yeah, we're gonna fucking DoorDash right now.
walk up? It's gonna be I kept going.
Yeah.
Then you're doing that. Okay,
You didn't even phase them.
oh, who ordered the tax? All right. Good afternoon, good morning, guten Nachmittag, hello, and welcome everybody to the Shank Redemption podcast. I am coming to you from the Shank Redemption Studios here in Michigan, and it is a lovely rainy day outside. I'm feeling, I don't know, very wistful today. I'm not sure what that word means. I should, because I'm an English professor. So, holy shit. Anyway, I'm in a good mood today, and got a lot to talk about. But before we jump into everything, and there is a variety of topics, I want to give a few shout outs here. First of all, to myvibe.com. Myvibe.com, they're basically like this really cool smelling salts type thing. It's when I was in EMS, we had smelling salts. If somebody was knocked out, we need to revive them pretty quickly. You crack the smelling salts and boom, people would wake up. Well, for the most part. My Vibe does that, and they do it in a variety of flavors. But it's nice to have something like that because, we use coffee, 5 Hour Energy, all kinds of things. But My Vibe, if you're having that 2 o'clock slump and your company has forced you back into the office after working remotely for some years, get some My Vibe. Stuff is awesome. Can't say enough about it. Myvibe.com. That's myvyv.com. And use promo code Shank15 when you're checking out, and that will give you a little bit of a discount, and it helps me out. Also, I want to give a shout out to Black Label Chronometers. Now, if I move my head this way, you look right behind me, you see me all posed up. That is because Ryan Babb at Black Label Chronometers did a fantastic job dialing in a clock for me. Now, what he does is he takes classic records, and this one was a comedy album, and then he takes the time to hand cut and produce all the little, like, if you look at it, all the little intricate pieces, like this thing, the designs on the arms, everything. And sometimes the process takes him weeks, to get. He did one for JG's Lounge, and every little bottle for the lounge he cut out by hand, did it all himself, and it's beautiful, just like this clock is. So if you check out Black Label Chronometers, and his pricing is amazing, but even better if you use the code Shank15, that's SHANK15, then you will get a little discount, and again, it helps me out, but it helps him out too, because he's a small business person. And, he's just like the rest of us. He's just trying to make his American dream work, right? So check him out. Also want to give a shout out to Redemption Cannabis. I've become a spokesperson for Redemption, and 10% of every sale goes towards helping people that have been either wrongfully convicted for possession when it comes to cannabis charges, or they're being put in jail for having, marijuana on them, for recreational use or for medicinal purposes. And, I can tell you, when my mom had cancer, we helped to ease her pain with the use of cannabis products. And she was never a person that would use it, and, preached against, growing up, traditional, I don't know, morals, I guess, before we were kind of enlightened to things, and it helped. All right. So this stuff it's good. It's natural. and it just helps people. And these folks not only help people, but they help people that have been wrongfully convicted. So 10% of every sale goes to that. I wear their gear when I'm touring all over the country. So check them out online. They're amazing people. I've met most of the folks that, work there so far, and just super nice. So check them out. All right. So that's it for the sponsor stuff right now. I'm also going to be bringing on actually, no, I just talked to Greenstem this last week. So this isn't it. Greenstem dispensaries that are located in Southern Michigan. Awesome place. People are super nice. They collaborate with the Underground Laugh Lounge there in Niles, Michigan as well. Great people, great products. If you happen to be in the area, check them out. And if you want some cool gear that you can order online, check them out online too. All right, now that's it for the sponsors. All right, so all the stuff to get into. It's been a while since I've done a redemption cast because I've been more leaning into doing some of the other podcasts on the network, like Singed Eyes and things like that, and a couple more blurred lines because, frankly, the conspiracy theory, which I am now calling dot connecting, is more in my wheelhouse. Especially with everything that's going on. Literally, things are unfolding every single day in front of us, and people are just, they got the blinders on going la 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 la, like nothing's happening. Like the last 4 years have just not been an absolute dumpster fire, and wanting to continue it. I'm not saying anything about Republican or Democrat or either side. I'm a numbers guy, and the numbers are not good, and wanting to continue what we're seeing and the level of corruption is, we got to choose something differently. We got to do something differently, folks. Can't keep sticking our hand on the hot stove, right? So I've been leaning a bit more into that. And there are going to be more blurred lines coming up too, because a lot of interesting guests are kind of starting to come across my landscape, that I'm seeing, and going to be some really great interviews. But for now, that's my dog barking in the background while I'm trying to record a podcast, just so you know. He's an asshole. I love him, but he's an asshole. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, you know what? I would be remiss if I didn't talk about a few things, because I'm sick of all the misinformation and vitriol that's floating around online. And there needs to be some clarification. So first off, let's talk about Raygun. The Australian breakdancer. I want to talk about it now because her fame is not going to last very long. There have been people out there defending her. It is a very kind of, she's a woman, she's in charge of stuff. So they're going to jump to her defense instead of using critical thinking and looking at, what's going on. And then they're finding out after the fact that she's dirty as hell, and now they're backpedaling, some of them going, oh, well, it's like, no, you did the wrong thing, take responsibility. I know that's very hard in today's day and age to say I'm wrong. But here's the deal. If you guys don't know, so what Rachel Gunn did to get into the Olympics is there has been an organization that is basically the governing organization of dancing, that has been talking to the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee, right, for years. But it's ballroom dancing, all right? And from everything that I've read from the IOC and different reporting agencies, is that ballroom dancing was just, it was outdated. That was their whole thing. It's like, it's not really a sport. Now, my grandparents used to do that kind of thing, and they had trophies and shit from that stuff. And it is very, very demanding. It is a very physical thing to do, to be as precise on your feet as they are. But be that as it may, it is, a bit antiquated for some. So that's why I think that never, from what I read and would agree with, it never moved into the international spotlight for the Olympics. But they were trying to bring something in, and breakdancing was it. They thought, this is going to be a good step in the direction. We'll get the kids, and things. Well, what happened in Australia was there was no governing body, right, to look at breakdancing. So this woman, Dr. Gunn, who has a PhD in urban dance and studies. I can't remember the exact title that she has. And this pisses me off. Okay, I've got a fucking master's from Johns Hopkins University. Johns Hopkins, the guy that Will Ferrell smoked out with, okay, the Johnny Hopkins, right? And as a matter of fact, I worked my ass off getting this degree, all right, so I could teach college and make a difference. And when folks are getting PhD, like they're in New York colleges, they have a thing where you can just make up your fucking degree, or you can just make it up. And some of you have probably seen that video, that TikTok, where people, are going like, I've got a degree in, angry women's, physical punch face. It's fucking insane. But they're getting degrees in it. They just, whatever they want to, they just make it up. And then they get out of school and they wonder why some of these companies, and I think corporations, I'm fine when capitalism is used well and builds a strong market economy, but corporations are fucking evil too, just as corrupt as the government is. And they're in cahoots, all right? And these cahooty motherfuckers, are asking for master's degrees, right? But only offering $15 an hour. And people are like, used to be saying, what are you talking? They're like, these are master's degrees. But then when you have somebody that has a PhD in fucking breakdancing, or you have somebody that can go and get an MBA from, a local technical college in 11 weeks or 11 months, or whatever it is, there's no value to it. There just isn't. Doesn't mean that the people that went to get these degrees didn't work their ass off and didn't have 2 jobs, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear. I've got 4 jobs right now, and I'm going for my PhD in psychology. Okay. So I don't want to hear it. I mean, you can send me comments and everything, send your vitriol. That's fine. This is a stack of bullshit, guys. This is why people are pissed off at the educational system, because it's become a farce when stuff like this happens. But anyway, I digress. So Dr. Gunn created the governing council in Australia for breakdancing. And then to top it off, this council was the one that when they were having qualifiers for the Olympics, she was actively working to deny funds to get underprivileged kids money to underprivileged, so they could get to those trials. Now, some of the figures for people to get, to these trials and things, it's like $80 for a train ticket. And you're like, well, that's not that much. I will tell you something, having grown up in poverty, guys, I know what being poor is like. I have been homeless at one point in my life. Okay. And I fucking fought back from that shit. But the unmitigated gall, because she is so selfish and she wanted to get into that spotlight so badly, because her hubris and narcissism is so unchecked, to give people who, Holy moly, or Molly, excuse me. If you've seen her dancing, all right, she is an Australian B-girl. Fucking amazing. She's really good. Vastly better than Raygun. And it didn't help that her Raygun's husband was in the mix as one of the guiding people in the thing, and the fact that when she had the like a few trials that to get into the Olympics, mostly populated with friends of hers. Guys, she set the playing field so it was her, plain and simple. I don't care. They're investigating her ass now. Like it pisses me off because she's mediocre. And it seems like anymore in this world, mediocrity is being accepted because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. Well, you know what? Fuck that. The Olympics, that's supposed to be the best of us. I used to be a high-level wrestler. I placed, I think, third in state in Greco-Roman. I was nationally ranked at one point in the late 90s. I placed, I think my highest in freestyle state was sixth. I was a damn good wrestler at one point. I was never Olympic level. I wrestled some Olympic level competitors a few times through the years, and I got my dick knocked in the dirt. I wrestled one guy who was on the Greco-Roman Olympic team, and he beat me. And that was probably the best showing I'd ever had in my life. And he beat the living hell out of me. You know, I mean, I went and hid in a corner like a whooped animal, right? Bleeding and shaking for 2 hours up on the upper decks of the gym because I thought I was going to die. He had beat the shit out of me so badly. Now, he was very kind. He tracked me down and he wanted to shake my hand because he was like, man, that was one of the best matches I've had all year. And like, I'm literally trembling and bleeding. And I was like, thank you, you're welcome, sir. But that's the level I'm talking about, and she was not there. She was just not there. And, it's kind of like the same view of like politics I have. Like, that's supposed to be the best of us, right? That the upper echelon, these are, where we're seeing human achievement at its greatest level. And she used corruption to get herself in. It's like, how dare you? How dare you steal that chance away? And now they won't even have breakdancing at the 2028 Olympics. It's fucking shame on you, Dr. Gunn. And I use that term loosely. Shame on you. I think what you did was reprehensible. I think you should be ashamed of yourself. I don't hate you. I'm disgusted with you. And I'm disgusted for the kids that missed out on the opportunity that should have been there. That should have been there. I'm sorry, but guess what? Just because you want something bad enough and you try really hard, I put a lot of effort into it. Well, you know what? If there's mediocrity there, guess what? You don't deserve to be there. You're not the best. And that's what the Olympics is about. Get over it. There need to be Simon Cowells in the world telling the Rachel Gunns of the world, like, look, I appreciate that you want this badly. It's not going to happen for you. Not every dream that you choose to latch onto is going to take you to the stars. No matter how much you believe in yourself. I'm sorry. And seeing the mediocrity, like if you've seen her husband's breaking, it's not breakdance, broke dancing. It's just atrocious. So that's what's going on with it. Those are the straight facts, and and what a lot of people are pissed off about is, that doing the curly shuffle on the floor, which she did. She had her hand on her chin and literally curly shuffled around. So there are people that, unless they weigh 500 pounds, could get on the floor and do the exact same thing. And that's not what the Olympics is about. It's just not, guys. There is human excellence out there, and we need to support it. We need to appreciate it. We need to appreciate it so that we can go out there and shoot for our own stars and our different things that, you know, embolden us and light that cosmic fire inside of us and make us want to be more and better than we are, you know, and pass that on to the next generation so they can be better. But that's not what's happening. If we keep supporting mediocrity, then we teach our kids it's okay to be mediocre, and that's not how you grow a society. I don't care how many good feelings that you have and intentions. Sitting on your throne of moral superiority when there's nothing to back up what's going, you know, what you believe, except for your own sanctimony, leads to just everything being ashes. And we saw this. We saw what happens. That's why people are pissed off. They're not pissed off because, you know, a doctor got there and she did her best. It's like, no, she used corruption and people got hurt because of it. And now all the break dancers out there that are doing an incredibly physically demanding thing that I couldn't even hope to do. I could do the curly shuffle on the floor all day long. I can do the kangaroo pose, all right, in my current condition. She should just be ashamed. And Australia should be ashamed because it happened under their country's watch. And now all of these kids that had dreams of being in the 2028 Olympics aren't going to happen. So congratulations. Some of these kids that had hoped for more now won't even be able to. It's 2028. This can be 2032 if the world is still around at that point, if we haven't torn ourselves apart. Guess what? It's going to be that long if they allow it back in. And some of those kids, if they're 18, life happens, right? And they had a great shot going into 2028. Well, you know what? Now they're going to be 26 going into 2032, right? Maybe they had kids. Maybe they had to get a job. Maybe this happened. Maybe that. Maybe life took them a different direction. And you, because it was so important for you to be a narcissist and take that away from people so you could be in the spotlight, you ruined that for them. My wish for you, Mrs. Gunn, is that you get everything that's coming to you. I mean that with every bit of my soul. And this is all I'm going to talk about it on this cast because you deserve nothing more. Okay, so next thing. The Hawk Tuah girl. All right, so this is jumping the shark, folks. This girl, by all accounts, I've seen many interviews with her. I've seen the entirety of the interview from when she was, I believe it was in Nashville outside of a club. It was very funny. It was very endearing. You know, some people got off on it, you know, Hawk Tuah got to spit on that thing. Like they turned it into, you know, like this vast perversion. But if you watch the whole thing, she's just funny, you know, in the interview. But it caught so much fire on the internet that she got representation. She talked about doing stand-up, which we've talked about the psychology of stand-up on this podcast before. People have told jokes before. People have, you know, gotten laughs out of family and friends, you know, because they have context to get laughs out of them. But then they get on stage and find out that they can't do it because it is a complicated art that has a lot of psychology attached to it. I just had an open mic at my club this week, and there were some moments that were absolute fucking train wrecks, and it was so bad that I've been doing this almost 30 years. I had to walk out of the fucking building. It was so bad. And one guy brought like 7 people with him and just flailed up there. Just like the breakdancing thing, not everybody can do it. I think everybody can get at least reasonably talented at it if they tried. But there's just a wall that a lot of people hit that they just can't get through. I got lucky. I had lots of great mentors. I had some natural inclination towards it. I would say because of trauma, which is true of most comics. But Jesus, yeah. So that was mentioned with her. But she's been, at concerts and things and asked to come out. She threw out a ball at the first pitch at the Mets game. And she's catching a lot of heat for it. But I got to tell you guys, like, she just seems nice. Okay. I mean, yeah, she's easy on the eyes and whatever, right? But it's just, she looks like she's just having fun with it. And people are being so mean to her as of late. And my question is, she didn't do anything corrupt. She's not like the other lady who we were just talking about. It's like, where's the corruption? Where's the evil? What's the bad thing that she did? She was drunk outside of a club, said some things that have just been beaten to death, in the viral world. And now people are tired of it, right? So now they're taking that out on her. It's like, it's not her fault. She's capitalizing as much as she can in this world that has an attention span of a goldfish. So my thing is, like, just let her do what she does, and she'll figure it out. It's going to shake out, and in her 15 minutes of fame may go away. It happens, right? Not everybody gets that chance. But she's doing the best that she can with it, and frankly, I hope good things for her because she just seems nice, from everything I've watched. So there's that. I don't really want to talk politics too much on this cast. But the only thing I want to say, and then I'm going to move on to my recent things that have been happening. Don't be led down the primrose path just because it's one side or the other side, and you don't want to open your eyes to what's happening. The world is burning, folks. Like, you may not want to admit it, but we've got an administration that is so lax in the controls and not letting our police departments do. We've got a whole building in Colorado that's been taken over by a Venezuelan gang, and has been that way for a month, and they've robbed gun stores, and it's going to take probably National Guard to go in there and take them out. But we are being corruptly controlled by people that want that or just don't care. We are being helmed by people that want to see the world burn because it doesn't fit their particular narrative. And I don't care who's in charge. I just want people in charge that want good for everybody and want good for good's sake, not just what they define as good that is just evil with a beautiful mask on. So that being said, all right, so what have I been doing lately? Well, back on July 13th, and this would have been recorded already, but we had a technical glitch that kept me from getting all of this information out a couple weeks ago. So talking about it again. But on July 13th, I taped my first special that is going to be slated for being put on TV. Now, on this network, we're working with a platform. Now it's some months out, but there is a streaming platform that specifically I'm working to get the TV special on, but we have to, it's a process. But the final cut's going to be back to me in about, I don't know, 2 weeks. I've seen the rough cuts, and it's the most professional thing that I've ever done. And I've got so many people that help me get there, but it's one of those things that, as I said, I've been doing this comedy thing for a long time, but it's like that, 10-year overnight success is the old saying, right? Well, mine's almost 30 years overnight success. Like I'm finally going out and headlining clubs, not only in this country, but now I finally got my first out of country gig. I've performed out of the country before, but this is going to be my first one as a headliner. So it's taken a while in my life's path. Choices I've made have made the journey a lot longer. Some people got there a lot faster. Some people still aren't there. It all works differently for everybody, and it's a marathon, and we're not racing against other people. We're racing against ourselves, until we get to the end of the journey. But I got there, and the Rees Theater in Plymouth, Indiana was beautiful. The staff was amazing. The people that helped me put the thing together, my stage mates in Charlie Berkeley, Brian Wells, who did an amazing job hosting that thing. And Sarah Woolley, who did a very good job going up too. Like those were the three people that opened the thing. And then there was an intermission. And then I went on stage, and I got to tell you guys, like I had a lost time incident because I literally watched the rough cut of the show after. And I kept saying over and over, like, oh, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember doing that. Oh, I don't remember doing that. I had so much adrenaline going. Like it felt like my head was going to explode. Like my blood pressure was so high because it was such a big event, and there was like TV cameras and all this shit going. And in my brain, I'm still just the kid from Deer Creek, Indiana, the middle of 4 cornfields. Not dogging on myself. It's just, that's I'm a country kid, right? I didn't grow up in the city with all this. It's weird. And maybe I need to grow out of that mindset, but it's just, it's just where my brain lives. I'm me. And to go out and there's like nearly 200 people. I mean, it's packed, all the way up to the balcony. And I'm just looking and, look out and there's all these people. And he announces my name. This music's going, which was actually my brother's, John's band, Roughchild. And I go out there and people are applauding. I look behind me and there's like this 30-foot TV screen with my big dumb face on it. Right. And I'm just like, even on the thing, I turn around and look at it just like, oh, that's me. And then I kind of did the little pose and I just started talking, and I don't remember anything. I still don't remember it. Like I try to go back and dredge up the memories. Even watching it, I can't do it. So it was crazy. And I didn't come back online, like memory wise, looking back on it, until I'm out in the lobby greeting people after the show. That's what I remember. Now, some funny things did happen because being a country kid, I did have some relatives there. One, aunts and cousins were out there, but I had my uncle, Joe, came in. And because he was already going to be at the show, he had some work boots that he hadn't used that he wanted to give me. And as I'm greeting people, he brings the work boots in. And I'm grateful for him because I'm going to use the damn things. But it was like, here I am taping, there are like cameras everywhere. My name's up on the marquee, big pictures of me, all over the place. And it was really kind of just this heartwarming rednecky moment. And then my brother, when I was down in the green room waiting for the show to start, comes down with all this stack of Tupperware. And my cousin had made chicken and noodles and mashed potatoes and everything, and she wanted to make sure that I got I got some. And so it's like I'm having this, what could be considered a big epic TV moment, and I'm getting leftovers in Tupperwares, from relatives. It was adorable, but I don't know that I would have wanted that any other way, because it was just one of those moments that helped me kind of stay grounded, I guess would be the way to say it. Um, but it was wonderful. And the AV Magic Studios, Melky and Tim and Brian did a wonderful job recording and editing. Everything was just sublime, and it's going to be such a beautiful product and so easy to work with. They do a lot of the recording for Notre Dame University. So the Rees, my family, my sister came out, Jen was there doing so much, just everybody, my sister, Eric, just all my friends, the deli, kids from school. Holy shit. I had so many people from school, Amy and Jeremy and Anthony and his wife and Stephanie and her hubby and Lori. It's just so many great folks that have always kind of just been there for steps in my career, and I graduated a long time ago, and the fact that they're still out there and supporting, just it means a ton. So it was cool. The next week after that, I was back to featuring, and I was at the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls. And the Funny Stop's been around for 30 years or something like that. And just a wonderful club. Nadal is the lady that runs it, and it used to be helmed by her husband, Pete. And he was kind of just a massive legend, just a big personality. And I never got to meet the guy. Like, I got into the club not long after he passed. And I still remember when I first showcased there, Nadal came up and she was like, "Man, you're really funny." And she said, "I really wish you could have met my husband." And that to me was like, what you're funny. Thank you so much. That is a beautiful compliment. I love it. But tell me that you wished I could have met your husband. Like, you think enough of me that you wished I could have been somebody that he would have appreciated. Get out of town. There's not a better compliment that I could have received from that very nice lady. And their family, runs a club, and it's a cool club. It's, been around forever. The headliner was Katrina Brown. A lot of great comics were there that week. Just had a lot of fun. My only gripe is that the comedy condo, that's our term for established lodging that clubs provide for comedians. Now, back in the 80s and 90s, it would be homes, apartments, house trailers, you name it, and generally not in the nicest of places, and generally not well kept. The thing about this condo, it's old as shit. It really is. It's just old. It's like you walk in, you're like, holy shit, I'm back in my grandma's house. It's 1976. Like the brown, like, furniture with the plaid, scratchy fucking cushions, the brown paneling on the wall. Like, it's got everything, the weird table and the thing, with the plastic flower cushions in the kitchen. Like, it's all there, but it's in this cool little artsy district in Cuyahoga. It's just amazing. It was cool. Like, I met a great guy there. Ely gave me a great haircut. We talked about, he's been cutting hair for 45 years, and it was just rapping with him, just, getting my hair cut. And I mean, just paid great attention. It was awesome. And there were like all these little cool shops and restaurants, and I'll be back next March. I can't wait to go back. And do it again. What a cool place. I took a week off because it was badly needed, because the next week I was doing an East Coast run. Now, I was going to be in New Jersey for 2 nights on gigs, booked through Mike Merck, a very funny comedian out of Atlantic City. And he's got his business is standupcomedyclub.com. And that's what he's booking through. And he booked the first night on Wednesday was at this place called the Waterfront in Wildwood, New Jersey. And the next night was at Hemingway's on Thursday. Now, the first night in Wildwood, you know, that was amazing. That was a crusher of a show. I mean, front to back, just kill. You know, I headlined the thing. And what was really cool was that I was able to do that after being on the road for 12 hours, getting out of the car, going into the venue, and only having enough of a pause to eat a little bit of food. You know, the MCs and the feature went up, and then it was me. So had a great show there. The crowd was amazing. The owners of the place are amazing. It's a beautiful little restaurant. If you're in New Jersey, I can't recommend that place enough. Had a blast, just had an absolute blast. The next morning, I was able to go and put my mom and dad's ashes. We combined them into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, the reason that is important is before my mom died, one of the main things she wanted, and I don't know why, but people want the stuff they want. Mom wanted to get a lobster roll somewhere on the East Coast, but specifically Maine if she could. And she was talking about it, but then Dad got sick and she had to take care of him, and then Dad passed and she was sick when he passed, and then she got worse and then she passed. And she never got to Maine to get a lobster roll. Such a simple thing. And when you're in the midst of life and paying for bills and everything else, like, oh, I can't afford that and I don't have the time. I look back on that and fuck that, guys. There was plenty of time. And even the kids, we could have pooled our money together, you know, and paid for her and Dad to go out to Maine for a weekend. I mean, what the fuck would that have cost? Or driven them out there if Mom couldn't fly for whatever reason. And that will always bug me. And I guess that's a lesson for you guys, is like, make time. A small request like that should have been taken care of. So she never got to get out there to the East Coast. So that was one of the last steps in Mom and Dad's journey, is putting them out there. And it was a beautiful moment, you know, and the beach was amazing. It was beautiful. It was grossly hot. That is the only complaint about the morning. But outside of that, it's gorgeous, you know, gorgeous. Just too hot because of the fake sun. But we'll get into that in the next blurred lines. So that next night, Thursday, we're at this place called Hemingway's, and there was a lot that was wrong with that show from the beginning. Like, the room is beautiful. Mike has a great setup there. But in Seaside, New Jersey, which is up where they filmed Jersey Shore, the people up in Jersey Shore are very Jersey Shore people. All right. And I can say that because before the show even started, there were two sisters in the audience fighting. I mean, on the verge of like fucking fist fighting. I'm talking like, I'm going to beat your fucking ass, Sarah. Fuck you, Tina. I will come over there and kick your fucking ass. You're going to kick my fucking ass? You remember what happened to Belinda? Oh, fuck Belinda. I will rip your fucking hair out, you fucking garbage piece of, like, literally for 10 minutes. And there were 24 people there. All right. 4 of them had come to see the headliner, Reverend Bob Levy, who's very funny. 10 of them had come to see this guy named Naked Eddie. I'll get to that. And then the rest were just there. And these ladies that were fighting, this was such a New Jersey thing that even the New Jersey people that were there were just like, what the fuck? So it was already souring the energy in the room, right? So they finally settle down and the show starts. Mike goes up and, the crowd's just off. Okay. And everybody that was there can admit that the show was just off. So Mike does his thing. He kind of gets some, he does a good job because Mike's one of the best comics in the country right now. He really is. Especially with crowd work, I would put him easily top 20 with crowd work. And he brings up the first guy. Now, Mike didn't know, I didn't know that Naked Eddie has a very specialized act. Now, Naked Eddie is a very nice person, very nice gentleman. And when I was talking to him in the green room, it was just conversation like this, just like people talking like, hey, how you doing? And he had on like mechanics overalls. I didn't notice that it wasn't a separate shirt and pants. It just looked like a, regular outfit. So Eddie goes up on stage and goes from talking like this to as soon as the starter gun went off, so to speak, all of a sudden he was like, hey, everybody, I'm going to talk about my boyfriend, but I don't feel comfortable, and fucking ripped off his coveralls. And he was only wearing a a grocery bag with holes punched through the bottom for his legs. That was it. And the 10 people that were there that were his friends, they thought it was a hoot. Everybody else was like, the fuck? So he's going on about his boyfriend and buttholes and, all this stuff. And he's getting laughs, especially from his 10 people. And he's getting some laughs from the other folks, but most of the time their faces are being blown back. Like I've got 2 people that, relatives, my amazing cousin Sarah and her best friend were there. And there was like a green room off to the side, and the stage is like awesome there. And like you can peek through the window, and I'm peeking through the window. I'm looking out in the crowd. My cousin must have sensed it. She was across the room, and she looks over, sees me peeking through the window, and she was like, and I went, like, I had no fucking clue. Nobody told me about this, because I would react differently in my set. Having to follow that if I'd known beforehand, because I have a couple bits that I can throw up there, but at the time I was just so floored, and it got worse because he this very specialized act went through me saying he didn't quite feel comfortable, so he reaches down into the garbage bag, and much like the Mario power-up, turns into his next evolution, pulls out this Bruno like strapped swimsuit thing and drops the garbage bag, and all of a sudden he's nuts out like the fucking opening of the 2024 Paris Olympics. And again, the audience is just like, what the fuck? I look back out, and Jen's face and my cousin's face, they're like, everybody's mouths are agape except for the folks that knew him and knew what he did on stage. So he finishes, comes off stage, runs back there naked. And I just was like, good set. Your comedy. That's what I meant. I meant your comedy was the good set, sir. And then the next guy went up, and apparently he's not having the easiest of times in life. Guy, and I could see where, his material would work if he wasn't clinically depressed. And it was just like, watching 10 to 15 minutes of somebody that should probably be on suicide watch. And like, it just, the crowd could feel it too. And folks, just so you know, like, crowd psychology and the energy you put out and get back and give and all of this shit, it absolutely fucking matters. Okay. And it was just, he even at one point said, I'm going to tell this joke. It should be funny, but you probably won't like it. Went into the joke. They didn't fucking like it. It was just like, I'm back there in the green room going, what the fuck, guys? So, they introduced me, and they're like, hey, he's from Michigan. Sean. And I go out there and I'm just like, if I had known I was going to be up after whatever the ball sack thing and then suicide guy, I might have prepared a bit differently, to be honest. And I was just featuring, so I had 25 minutes, and I would tell you, I mean, I had to fight through the first 15 to just kind of get them on my side. It took, and I'm a good damn comic, and it was just like, fuck. My face is getting red because I'm getting worked up about it. It's hot out here in the office because I don't have the AC on. But Christ, even the headliner who's been doing it forever and has been on the Howard Stern show, like halfway through his set, he just stopped at one point in the middle of his set and just looked out and went, I'm just sitting out there in the audience and I'm just like, I get you, buddy, So that was an interesting night. But we left Atlantic City the next morning, and we stopped at Johns Hopkins on the way to Maryland, Gaithersburg, Maryland. Now, it was important for us to stop at Johns Hopkins because I didn't get to walk because of the vid. And I didn't get to walk, and that was my master's. I didn't get to walk for my undergraduate because of the vid. And I'd always sworn I was going to go to Johns Hopkins and cross the finish line. And I finally, there's this big stone sign outside of Hopkins that says the Johns Hopkins University. And that was like the ribbon for me to cross. And I walked up and put my hand on it and got pictures of it. And I felt like this weight off of my shoulders. And it was amazing. And I don't know how to describe it. It was just accomplishment. Like I already had my master's for 2 years, but it just, the being there and getting that moment was awesome. And then we got to Gaithersburg for the Give a Hoot Comedy Club. Now, Give a Hoot's really awesome. Like if you're anywhere near Give a Hoot, go out to their shows, because here's what they do. Every single weekend, they will pick a charity. And mine was the Maryland Association of something Outdoor Educators, MAEOE, just like the shittiest Scrabble tiles you could ever get. And they pronounce it Mayo, but it's like Maui Wowie, right? Super cool people, Jemima, Laura, all the folks from they showed up, bought tickets. The first night was okay. It wasn't a great night. It was good, but it was just one of those ones we had like 25 people and they were bemused. I'm like, I did a good job, but it was like kind of one of those nights where it was like a lot of laughs, a lot of groans. And I'll take it. It's like whatever. But then the next night, which oddly enough, the owner wasn't there for that one. But I mean, I got rebooked, at the club, but was just a great night. Had a blast, took pictures up on stage, arms around shoulders and all that stuff. Very cool night. And it's just a great club. And I will tell you, like, they're legit about their donating every single weekend, because they're not in it to like become rich. The weekend, after making their base donation, paying me, paying comics, everything else, I think the profit total was $20. So that it is one of those clubs out there in the world that is a great club, has amazing ownership. Erwin Loring and his wife are fantastic people. Go support them. It's 30 minutes away from DC. It's pretty centrally located on the East Coast. Like, go there, buy tickets, eat a shitload of food, have fun. It's in like this like banquet area of a Mexican restaurant called La Mexicana. Fantastic food. Like I got to eat, on the club's bill, and holy shit, good food. So yeah, support them. But it was a great run. And then on the way back, I got to stop in Pittsburgh for the first time in a decade. Went to the same spot on at the strip market where like Holy's was and the original Pimanti Brothers, and I had Pimanti's had a sandwich. Holy shit! If you've not been, I cannot recommend it enough, guys. I'm telling you, like they take, and here's the history of it. All right, with the Primantis, as far as I understand it, is it's right on the Three Rivers, and there are a lot of docks down there. And these guys would, back when it was started in the 1930s, whatever, they only had so much time to get in, get their food, and get out, and they couldn't eat everything separately. They couldn't package everything, so the cooks just started slamming the French fries and the slaw on top of the sandwiches and just going, here, eat it all in one sitting. And it's delicious. It fucking works. I'm telling you, those sandwiches with all that stuff combined, oh my God, fucking amazing. The staff there is amazing. And down there's just all these little cool markets and everything. It's just an experience. Like if we can hold this country together and not let it get overrun by assholes and, keep things beautiful where people can just go out and enjoy living, that's one of those spots you need to go to before you die, because it's just a cool experience. And that area is so cool. Like that's one of the, isn't it featured in Jack Reacher movie? I've put that same area into my books. I mean, just, it's awesome. So got back home, I've got some other bookings and things that, I've built up for 2025. I got my first, like I said, week is going to be in November. Then I'm going to be in Canada performing. And that's going to be after the election. So probably going to have some splaining to do if I'm even allowed into Canada at that point. But yeah, it's been cool. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for the things I've been blessed with. I'm grateful that I get to do this podcast on JG's network. Please keep listening to JG's and checking out all the different podcasts that are happening. Lots going to be happening with this network. And I may have some actually within a couple weeks. I may have some very major announcements too that are going to come out on the Redemption podcast. But I'll be doing these still. Going to be doing Blurred Lines still, and just please keep tuning in. I know that I have interesting guests on this podcast. Sometimes it's just me, and I'm just bloviating about random bullshit. But there's value here, I think. But I appreciate everybody that is listening in. So I'm going to wrap it up because we're at an hour, and I've got to get myself around because I've got 2 shows tonight, and then I'm going to be off. Well, so next week, this will be out this week. Thursday, I'm going to be at the Underground Laugh Lounge with the Make America Laugh Again tour in Niles, Michigan, with the amazing Brian Swinehart, the hilarious Terry McNeely, and the brilliant Mike Merck. The next night, the 4 of us are going to be, and JPB, comic JPB, will also be on the stage with us that night. The next night, we're going to be in Logansport, Indiana at the State Theater. If you're in that area, please come check us out. And then the next night, we're going to be down near Columbus, Ohio, wrapping up that portion of the leg of the tour. The next week, I am completely off stand-up. I'm not doing a thing. And then I've got a bunch of stuff in September. I'm going to be at the Chicago bar, or the Comedy Bar in Chicago, Don's House of Comedy in Kentucky, September 22nd. So the Comedy Bar's September 25th, if you can make it out. I'll be there. September 6th, I'm going to be at the Harvey House in Constantine, Michigan, doing a benefit. September 14th, I'm going to be at the headlining the Fort Wayne Comedy Club, and actually, much like Wiley's in Dayton, and God, I love that club. Sadly, it's closing down September 7th. The Fort Wayne Comedy Club's going to be closed in October, and I'm going to be one of the last headliners that they have. So I'm very grateful for that. September 14th in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'll be headlining that show. So very busy month for me, stand-up wise. So I am going to, after that next week, I'm taking a complete week off, except to do a little bit of fine tuning on some of the stuff from my college classes. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. Don't forget to check out myvibe.com. Check out Black Label Chronometers. Don't forget Redemption Cannabis. Check them out. They're good people. Green Stem Dispensaries. Check those folks out. Great people there. Great products. Good vibe all the way around. And of course, as always, don't forget, they don't sponsor me. I'm just a fan. The guys at meatsohorny.com, msh.com. They have great spices. And matter of fact, they just graduated. Now their products are on Amazon and Walmart.com. So very proud of the guys out there, Swami and Rob and Jacoby and Boo and all the rest of the folks. Very proud of you. And, folks, have a great day, great night, great weekend, great weeks. And remember, spread kindness, spread joy, spread love, and don't let the bad people that are in power win. All right. By banding together and loving each other, we can win. And that's what it's about. All right. Love you guys.